because I think this is ample evidence. Whether it was them or us, the statement would have been done properly. Do you accept that?
No, I don't, because I don't know how you do things. There were mistakes in the letters. There have been mistakes in how you have read things here. So how could I have predicted you wouldn't have made mistakes?
Thank you, Advocate Madonsela. We'll get your answer.
Thank you.
Advocate Mpofu, I want you in the next 6 minutes to wrap up, which will be 12:30. We're supposed to conclude at 12.
Chair,
Thank you.
No, well, I'm going to need more time, Chair. I need to deal with...
No.
That was just one. No, Chair. There were 3 segments of issues. One, segment A was the issue of the affidavit, which was dealt with by Advocate Mayosi. I've dealt with that. Segment B was...
I want to assist you so that you don't waste any more time.
No, I'm not wasting time, Chair. Can I finish talking?
Please conclude, so that I'm going to make a ruling. Please conclude. Please conclude, Advocate Mpofu.
No, it's fine, Chair.
So I'm asking you to conclude at 12:30.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Madam, you, I think, did not answer the question that was asked by Honorable Holomisa. At least you said you don't hold grudges and so on, which is fine. But I think the gist of the question was whether you don't find it strange or you're not surprised that the same people who insulted you during the Nkandla debacle and called you names and called you a CIA spy, whatever, and still call you names and sometimes even objectionably referred to your features and all sorts of despicable things, and called you Umakoti was a Stellenbosch and Tombe Bugakayo and all sorts of things, degrading names, that those people are now praising you. And I think the gist of that was not that you hold grudges. I think admirably you don't hold grudges, but the question was whether do you find it strange or expedient that those people are driven by expediency, that they are now suddenly your number one fans?
May I respond to that? Chair, allow me to say that even by your standards, Advocate Mpofu, this was the lowest.
Chairperson?
You conceived as an advocate of the Supreme Court of South Africa to bring insults that have been into the public domain, into this.
Advocate Madonsela, just pause. Please pause. Please take a breather. I understand what the challenges are. I did ask you yesterday not to get to that level, and I apologize, sir. I'm asking again.
Okay. I apologize and I withdraw.
Please proceed.
Apology accepted.
I apologize.
I wanted to conclude. I wanted to conclude. Please conclude your response, Advocate Madonsela.
Advocate Mpofu, I am shocked beyond measure that you, as an advocate of the High Court of this country, have taken slurs that have been said to me. A lot of the things that you've said have never been said in Parliament. The one slur about my looks that you have repeated in this record that you yourself have said you envisage to be here for 100 years. You have brought what President Zuma said about my looks in the streets into this record. That is shocking and that is unprofessional, sir.
Yes, thank you. Is President Zuma a member of the ANC?
It doesn't matter what he is. I'm just saying, sir, you've taken what a street fight and brought it here. Firstly, you have reduced my response to what was said. I didn't say that I have forgiven people or something. I said people change. You and I were on the same side on one issue because we understood the same. When you litigated on the public protector, we approached you to persuade you about our interpretation of the powers of the public protector. You accepted that and you used that and we won the case. Today you're on the other side because you have been persuaded differently. So my response, which I repeat again, is that it's not about I hold no grudges. It is about I am not surprised, because that was the question that I was asked, are you surprised? I am not surprised because I expect MPs and lawyers and reasonable people to change their mind when they get new information. What we do, I repeat again, Advocate Mpofu, depends on what we know, how we feel, what we think, then we act. And that changes every day. At least this is what neuroscientists say. So it's not just about I bear no grudges. It is about we deal with issues as we deem fit. And I am glad that MPs are not stuck in yesterday. They're here, right here in this room, trying to make sure that South Africa works for everyone.
Yes, no, thank you. Well, for the record, I'm not on the other side. I'm just representing Advocate Mkhwebane. I don't regard that as being on the other side from you. But, and also, in case you missed it, the adjectives that I used about it being objectionable and despicable should show you that I don't agree with those epithets. For example, I don't agree that you are a CIA agent. I think that's ridiculous.
I disagree with you. You are elevating those things once again to this room and putting them on the record. Well, that is unprofessional, Advocate Mpofu. Shockingly. Shocking.
No, that's fine. Well, you can insult me as much as you like. I think
shocking.
I've told you that what that does, it's water on a dark speck. All right, you can insult me all day, ma'am. Now, as far as Friede is concerned, you say you thought and you considered that politicians should be investigated, and we now know that the Advocate Mkhwebane did not just think, but he actually went and investigated the politicians and also went to the site of the Friede dairy farm. Now, what I wanted to ask, I was going to give you references. I want now, because of time, of the conversation you and I had on the Section 7.9 responses of Mr. Magashule and the MEC, which you had said you if you had seen those, you would withdraw the snide remark you made yesterday about their names disappearing. But because of time, we'll probably have. I was trying to avoid having to do that in writing, but we will write those to you, and we'll submit your responses to the committee if the chair, in the interest of time, will allow. So that's just. I'm just informing you that you understand, ma'am.
I fully do, and also about going to where victims are. I went to Gippsland's when nobody was going because it was the killing fields. Even my staff didn't want to go. So you're not going to say that because I didn't meet this particular set of complainants, that is a judgment on me. And again, Advocate Mpofu, this is not my impeachment. It's your client's impeachment.
And it's shocking, yes. No, okay, my last topic then is what I call, what Judge Madlanga and Chief Justice Mogoeng called the magnification of the errors or mistakes made by Advocate Mkhwebane, by judges and other people. Now, you'd agree that of all the things that you could be accused of as a public protector, probably the highest would be that you were biased and did not approach an investigation with an open mind, because that's probably the worst thing. Forget about making an error of law or not understanding the law and all that. But if you are biased, that's that's the ultimate, correct?
I would agree that the highest accusation that could be made is that you clearly favored someone and worked with them to achieve a particular result.
Yes, that's otherwise known as bias, correct?
It's not as simple as that.
Oh. Okay. Do you know or don't you know, if you've ever done administrative law, that bias or the nemo iudex principle means not approaching a subject with an open mind and being biased?
Yes. I would say the highest accusation that can be made against you as a public protector, as a judge, as a lawyer, a young person who wants to be a fit and proper person, is that you lied under oath or you lied generally. That's why you get struck off the roll if you're dishonest. So that even during the times of Plato, one of the virtues that was regarded as one of the highest virtues in society was honesty, because without honesty, we have nothing.
Correct. Good. And you would
that's going to be your last point.
It is the last point, Chair, but please allow me to develop it.
We're going to be closing now.
And you have been, as we gathered yesterday, Judge Procedural found you to be biased.
She did, and it was not appealed. And for the person who will benefit from that judgment being not appealed to claim a benefit from it doesn't seem right to me. I think John Rawls would disagree with that as just. If you've pursued another person's interest, as I did with Advocate Mushwana, with an eye to justice and to role of the public protector to the ultimate, and then come back and said, I did my best to get to the bottom of this, then you can come here and say, yes, I put the best of counsel in this case. I did my best to have it appealed, but it came wanting. I even got you involved to explain yourself, and you can't give me any of that.
All right. And the giants that you say you walked on the shoulders of, at least one of them is referred to by Professor Hoekstra as the ANC protector. That would be Advocate Mushwana. And do you know that this is what the SCA, talking about appeals, said about his investigation? An investigation that is conducted in that state of mind might just as well not be conducted at all. The investigator is then no more than a spokesman who adds his or her imprimatur to what has been said, which is all that really occurred in this case. I have said before that an investigation calls for an open and inquiring mind. There is no evidence of that state of mind in this investigation. In other words, he also was accused of bias, apart from just being called the ANC protector. May
I respond to that?
Yes, of course.
I think it's unfair to malign Advocate Mushwana here without having warned him. The male and guardian case is a case that we use. I've never suggested that the giants on whose shoulders I stand were correct in every way. In fact, the statement said that we look to them to the extent that their way is a better way. But when we found a better way, we do things differently.
Yes.
And if you didn't read my statement and you did not understand the import of my statement, then I'm sorry, sir, because my statement was a 4-page statement, and the last part of it was very clear about not suggesting that my predecessors were correct in every way.
Okay, my last question then is this, that you, well, for the record, both your giants did not obtain clean audit, including you as the giant admirer. But as far as you've also said that you've had accolades from all sorts of bodies. Is it true that one of the accolades that you also received and got was to be named the Person of the Year by the Guptas.
Oh, certainly, but the accolades that I mentioned were by my peers.
Just pause, Advocate Madonsela, before you respond. Thank you, Advocate Mpofu. That would have been your last question. Please respond, Advocate Madonsela.
The accolades that I mentioned were the accolades that are relevant to this inquiry. I was asked if I consider myself an expert on, or my strength being the interpretation of the law. I said yes, including the interpretation of the Constitution, and that shone through in the powers of the perpetrator. I am the inventor of the Equality Code. I have drafted many laws and been part of drafting many laws. I defended the Equality Act in Parliament, and you'll find that in parliamentary records. And I then, in that particular context, mentioned the accolades that have been given by my peers, and it was the Law Society that approved me in terms of my interpretation of the law, the Judge President Lidwaba speaking on behalf of the judges. And then I got the Commonwealth Lawyers Association Truth and Justice Award. I got the Sydney Kenridge Award. I got the Transparency International Integrity Award, the APRM Award, the Association of Certified, the Association of Certified Forensic Investigators Award. And therefore, this was mentioning my peers. Again, I don't like the idea of drenching things into this committee. To you, Chairperson, thank you for the opportunity to assist.
Just pause there. I'm coming back to you. Thank you for responding to that last question. We have now reached the end of our interaction with you as our witness. Before I thank you on behalf of the committee, I want to ask you to say your final remarks and comments to this committee.
Thank you, Chairperson, honorable members and colleagues, for the privilege to be a witness. I came here as a reluctant witness. I was shocked that for the bulk of the 1st of March, I was the accused person watching on this platform, unable to defend myself. For the bulk of yesterday, I was the accused person. But nonetheless, I do hope that what I have shared with you about what I know about the glorious institution, but not flawless institution that I inherited, I have shared with you today. I also hope that I've assisted you to get a sense of what I did with the 2 reports that you have asked me to be involved in. I was shocked that I was asked if I'm an advocate or not, if I was born here or not. The only thing I wasn't asked is if I'm a woman or a man, and to prove it. My colleagues were made to look like criminals, the ones who are signed. They are respected in their profession. One, a director in a very respected law firm who does these affidavits every day or most of the days of his lives. One, a chartered accountant who does this some of the time. And integrity is important in their professions. And I'm a little bit saddened their names were wrongfully and unnecessarily maligned. But nonetheless, I am an advocate of the Supreme Court of South Africa. It was irrelevant that I was asked, because whoever needed to know that should have just checked the records of the LPC. They would have found my name and my number. But it was irrelevant because the person wanted that information for the purposes of reporting me, and that could have been done after this process. It was not relevant to the evidence that you as a committee need to know in order to make a finding on whether or not the client of Advocate Mpofu, my successor, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, is guilty of the things she's accused of. And thank you for the privilege. Good luck to everyone who's involved. And thank you for what you're doing to make our country work and work for everyone. Let's see.
Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Advocate Thuli Madonsela.
Chairperson, I'm raising a point of order.
I am on the platform.
Sorry.
I've not noted you to speak. Switch off that mic, please.
Yeah, but how else?
Switch off that mic, Advocate Mpofu.
I'm catching your attention.
Switch off that mic. I've got your attention.
So
Switch
why
off
are
the
you
mic.
shouting?
Switch off the mic,
you.
Advocate Mpofu. I was saying, Advocate Madonsela, on behalf of this committee, as a chairperson of this committee, we want to deeply thank you for availing yourself before the 1st of March, before yesterday, and during up until today. You have even given us an extra time. We needed to release you by midday today. You allowed us to get into your time in that, and I'm grateful for that on behalf of this committee. We thank you for what you brought here as your testimony. As the committee, we are going to deliberate on all of these issues, including what you shared with us. And we hope and trust that that testimony will be of great use for the work that we have been mandated to do, which deals with issues of incompetence and misconduct, the fitness to hold office of Advocate Mkhwebane, so that by the time we report to the National Assembly, we're able to say, here are the findings, here are the recommendations. So we thank you for your contribution. And beyond what you've just placed in this inquiry, we thank you for what you would have done as a former public protector. And we wish you well in your current and future endeavors that you are doing as part of your contribution to this country. Thank you very much. And on that note, as I've indicated, we would have reached the end of our interaction with you. You are now officially excused, Advocate Madonsela. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I now turn to you, Advocate Mpofu. You wanted my attention.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. You see, you must avoid turning this committee into a complete circus. I made an objection while Advocate Madonsela is here. You shouted at me for no reason because you want to release her before I speak. I wanted to say, Chairperson, you should not allow things like what you've just done now. There's a reason why Parliament designed the inquiry the way it did.
What is your point you want to raise? I'm now closing the session. What's the point?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to assist you.
Yeah.
Just let me help you. Let me help you.
I don't know what I'm going to
Then
say.
conclude.
No,
Please
I don't
conclude.
need your help. Yeah.
Then conclude.
Okay. All right. The witness, what that witness said in the end about her being an advocate must be completely struck off anything to do with this committee, because a witness cannot surreptitiously add evidence at the end when she refused to answer the question which was put to her in evidence here under oath. And the reason, this is a very important issue, Chairperson. If you allow that kind of deceit and disingenuity to pervade this process, then you are littering it and poisoning it. The witness, I gave her 4 or 5 chances to answer the question. She chooses when you're about, and then you ignore me so that you can release her, and then she gives evidence at the end. It's not allowed, Chair. The reason why I
You've made your point.
Yes, point. Thank
You've
you,
made your point.
No, let me just say
Thank
this.
you,
Please,
Advocate
Chair. No,
you have made your point.
Chairperson, let me just finish, please. I promise you I won't
Let
be long.
finish,
I won't be long, yeah. The reason, Chairperson, why I put the question to the witness, and when she refused to answer, in fairness to her, I did not pursue the matter, is because we had information at our disposal that she was not an admitted advocate when she started as a public protector, and she subsequently was enrolled. But because she refused to answer the question, I did not put the issue, that proposition to her. And if she had not refused, I would have put it to her, and in fairness, she would have cleared the air or whatever the situation is. It's a very serious allegation, and so to allow it to be addressed like that is really objectionable.
Thank you,
but that's fine.
Mpofu. Let me just make this point, because there's no basis for what you're doing. First, you started yesterday at 10:43, and I would have given you up until 3:30 to 4. You finish at 1 minute after 6. You had that time with yourself for everything that you wanted to do. Today, you would have been given time from 11:38 as pick-up questions. Pick up anything that would not have been concluded. And I had to stop you from doing that. And I must just say that it was now the chair addressing the witness, because the witness yesterday never denied or confirmed issues of advocate. Never. And for you to say that she refused to answer that question, that's something else. But
What was the answer?
besides that, I didn't let you to speak. Please stop doing what you're doing. And in any case, I have already addressed Advocate Madonsela and asked and recused you officially that you have done what you came here to do. On behalf of this committee, we're happy with that contributions, and we're going to look into those issues as part of our deliberations. Thank you very much. You are excused.
Thank you. No problem.
Thank you. Honorable members, that's the end of our inquiry today, which was meant to be up until 12.